Okay, the music we're listening to is Heart of Gold by Local Jam. And this is my Pogs. This is Japanese Pogs. This Pogs I got from this famous artist. He painted all this. And I got it as a donation. This Pogs, this and this I got from my sister in the mainland when she went to Disneyland. And this is Timon and Pumbaa. I don't know how I got those. I don't know how I got any of this, but anyways. Okay. I just couldn't show my Pogs.
Very difficult parent for both the medical profession and the educational profession, because in the summer, in the second IEP we had in June, we had one in June. The second time Marty sent everybody through, and he got all his people. Marty is the Department of Education. He got all his people together to evaluate, and then we sat down at the table at the district level. They had people from the state coming in to deal with this difficult person who knows everything about 94-142. So we had a big conference. I insisted that Kaiser Medical Center send their staff to the meeting. I insisted. Because they important to me was that the physical therapists at Kaiser and the physical therapists in the DOE knew what they were doing. They had to be talking story, because one couldn't be working on one end and the other one work on the total, in my mind, and I don't have a medical degree. In my mind, they both had to be talking story. So I sat everybody at the table so that we had one continuous plan. We got all the medical documents. If the DOE needed that interpreted, we had them at the table so that they can interpret. So when we were finished with Odee's IEP, it was totally different from the first one on June 1st, but it was what Odee needed. Going into a new school year, this is a two years, so now Odee's out of the wheelchair, she's looking good, and we're sitting down for an IEP. When you sit down for an IEP, you start planning whether you need these services. Do you still need PT? Do you still? That's what you do at an IEP meeting. So according to the medical, because now I'm still getting medical professional advice, right? She's still getting, she needs this, okay? But the DOE decided that we had three neuropsychological reports within the last year and a half. Done by Kaiser Vallejo, done by Tripler Medical Center, done by my private doctor now, Dr. Shin, Virginia Shin. All those three medical reports stated that Odee needs the extra help. That she's, one of the traits of traumatic brain injury is impulsivity. And she's very impulsive. So if she sees somebody else doing it, she thinks nothing of danger, she just does it, and then it's too late. But the DOE decided that they could no longer afford it. It wasn't necessary for Odee anymore. Odee didn't need it. They weren't being really cooperative at that time too, you know, like they stationed her, they weren't thinking creatively, because they put her in a classroom on the second floor. And then they want me to agree that she doesn't need anybody to walk her down the stairs. She just got out of the wheelchair. It's like, duh, you know. Put her on the first floor and then tell the mother she doesn't need anybody because she's not walking up and down stairs. That's the way I look at it. But anyway, that's beside the point. So the DOE hired, can you believe that? I had 3 neuropsychological reports done within a year and a half. And the DOE, on their own, hired their own neuropsychological evaluation for Odee. So that was another day I had to take off from work, take her down to this other doctor who asked me, why are you here? And I said, because I have these 3 reports and they don't agree with it, and they feel she can be off on her own. She doesn't need the assistance. So they paid for an evaluation like that close to $1,000 and $150 an hour sitting in my meeting before they decided that, yes, guess what? Odee needs a educational aid. But took them their own doctor, and their own doctor couldn't disagree with what the doctors had already written, which to school, like I said earlier, it's just like, when you're in school, the teachers want you to be everything you could be. So I was trying to procure the services for my daughter, and I was really set back when I found out that Odee's arm was totally ruined, and I wanted it to get better. I wanted it to get strength, and I wanted to get better. When I was found, because I was pushing for that, getting more services so we could strengthen the arm, and I was told that only the Department of Education only can cure or assist as much as it has to do with education. And in their opinion, if the student is writing with the right hand, as much as the education, the left hand can hold the paper. If the left hand can hold the paper, there is no need to get any better. They have done their part. So if you wanted it to get any better, then that would be your kuleana, so to speak. So we brought Odee into Herb, and guess what? Odee said, "No way, Jose, I ain't working with you." So we did that maybe 1 or 2 times. She just like totally blew him off, and I am not going to work with you. And so Herb said, "Tell you what, Odee, I'm going to give you 2 pogs if you do your sit-ups." And Odee sat up and said, 2 pogs? And she started doing it. And so he said, "Okay, I'll give you 2 more pogs." And I'm going like, oh my God, Herb, at that time, that was a pog craze. The pogs were like really expensive. I mean, you know, and I'm going like, oh my God, Herb, how are we going to afford this? And he says, wait, we're getting her to do everything we want her to do. She would earn the pogs. And it was like, we got her well. She was out of the wheelchair soon after that. We got her walking. We got her running. And still, if he didn't have the incentive, you know, I mean, all it took was one creative mind to say, hey, kid, if you do this, I'll do this, you know. And it was like, till this day, I think he's a miracle that was sent to us. No, I really do. I mean, he's such a, and he doesn't work with adults. And she told him the same thing she told everybody else. But, you know, he didn't take no for an answer. And we got her well. That's the key. We got her well.
Just real briefly together with that letter that got published and the pogs coming in.
Oh, because I was like, oh my God, you know, how are we going to afford the letters? But my girlfriend in Wailua, Blossom, she's the one who started at Wailua Elementary. And she said, and I said, oh, he loves his pogs. And she said, you know what, there's this Bev, and she does stories, and she would love to know that your daughter's getting well. And I said, sure, tell Bev to call. Just thinking, oh, it would be a nice, heartwarming story, you know. And so she came out, Bev came out, and she filmed Herb, took pictures of Herb and Odee working together and ran the miracle child getting healed by pogs. And it was like awesome, because my worry about how am I going to afford all these pogs, we had thousands and thousands. I mean, the people of Hawaii are so generous. But we got as far away as Illinois. Pogs came in from Illinois to help her get better. I had people calling me up at work. They dropped off by the grocery bags of pogs.
Because maybe this could be an advertisement for our show or something.
All right.
Quiet on set, please.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Wow, what I can do?
You're going to introduce it, and we're going to make it happen. You can do it.
So I'm going.
You're going to just let the folks know that you're going to, maybe you can just take the mic and say, we're here with BB Sean. Sean, what are you going to play for us?
Okay.
Something like that. Okay. Quiet on the set, please.
Hello, we're back, and Sean's gonna play something for us. So Sean, what are you gonna play?
Actually, I'm gonna be trying this. This is the first song I ever learned on guitar, actually, in this particular tuning. I'm gonna dedicate this to the whole Leeward Coast, you know what I'm saying?
you make the system so hard that it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Where does the responsibility really lie? I question it. I really, really question it. Because you know how many times I want to say, forget it? Do you know how many times they pushed me to way up against the wall that I just came home and I just literally cried my heart out? You know? And I think no parent should have to go through that to get services. So I am very much a part of the Felix Waihe. I think I was the one who testified at the last court hearing on behalf of the parents, and I am well versed in what's needed in the community. I make it a point to learn because I don't want to see any parent in this state have to go through that. Services should be provided.
So tell us what you were saying earlier, what you think the Felix consent decree did for the community.
You know, I feel that the Felix is not where it's supposed to be right now. I think we're lagging way behind. But I was there in '92 and there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. So what I feel to date, what the Felix versus Waihe has brought is an awareness that we need to start working together, that we need to start forming these teams. In '92, I was there all by myself.
And who is the we that needs to start working together?
The DOH, the Department of Health, or medical professionals. I mean, it doesn't have to be Department of Health. It can be people like private providers, Kaiser. They need to work with the Department of Education. If you have some child with, you know, in the court systems, they need to be You cannot do this alone. Odee is not well because she just got well, because she has a good mom. I could not have done it because I don't know the medical side of it. Everybody's got to be a team. If you ain't got a team, you're not got a program that's going to work. You have to work as a team. And that's why I act, you know, I'm so active, because I want to be there for all the other children. I seen what a difference it made for Odee's life, and I want to make sure that every parent is out there.
So you think the Felix case
brought it.
Forced people.
It's forcing, and at this point, that's why I said we're not there yet, because the DOE is being forced to participate. The DOH is being forced to participate. But the good news is they're being forced to participate.
And the families are given a voice.
And the families are given a voice. At least now we can see that what's happening in Waianae is happening in Honolulu. We have forums that allow parents to collaborate.
What are they called?
In the children's councils, you know, the community children's councils, CCCs. At least we are given opportunities to come together and we can collaborate on getting the system better. In the past, you were a lonely parent. Yep, born and raised.